Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of 2021 for Next to the Floor. My name is Harrison. I am going to be your host with the most. Welcome to our live web show, podcast, talk show, whatever, where we talk about dancing, Black lives. We talk about current events, politics, positive vibes, tea, food, clothing, etc., etc. I am joined by I'm going to be nice this year. I've decided to bury the hatchet. And I'm only going to say positive things, but I am joined by the ever incomparable, there's a good one for you, Bjorn, my co-host with the co-most. There he is.
Hey. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Good to see you. Happy New Year.
Back. Happy New Year. Welcome to the other side.
We made it. We're here.
We did it. We're here.
If you're watching this, you made it.
Congratulations, everyone.
Yes. Give yourselves a hand.
A big round of applause for getting through. For, let's say, we survived.
We survived
2021.
Man.
Full stop.
2021.
For real. Like heavy duty. I think it took everyone to task.
Yeah. Still is.
Yep. It showed up. It was handing out butt whoopings and bubble gum, and it was all out of bubble gum. So happy.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate and happy that, that year is over and done with, and that we're on to a new year, which, is appearing to be offering a whole new bevy of exciting bits of drama and intrigue, etc., etc. But we're here now.
That's right.
We are here. Do you have any, are you a big New Year's resolution sort of guy?
I was at a time. I don't label them like New Year's resolutions anymore. I just try to goal set, same kind of idea, but I think that for me at least, if I tie it more to what I'm doing, if I'm doing this and I'm like, the goal for this is to do this sort of thing, I have more passion towards it versus if I'm like, this is the New Year's resolution, because by the time February comes, you forget New Year's altogether. So that energy for whatever you wanted to accomplish, that sometimes just drives my energy right into the dumpster. So, I try to just set like work goals, social life goals, personal goals, that sort of thing.
Nice.
How about yourself?
I don't know that I'm necessarily like similar. I don't know that I would necessarily color myself a resolution kind of person.
Yeah.
I mean, for what it's worth, I feel like nobody really even knows what a resolution is or to like be resolute as an idea. The definition, just so we all know, is to be admirably purposeful, determined, and unwavering. That is the definition of resolute. So,
yeah.
So, like, do I have a New Year's resolution? No. Do I have like many goals and things that I want to be able to achieve and attain for 2021? Yeah, absolutely. I just find like, the whole idea and concept of a New Year's resolution, it's a goal without I don't know. I think people tend to make them and they turn into like, goal or something that somebody wishes that they want to do, but they don't have a plan to actually make it happen.
Exactly.
And so they fall short. And then it's like, just like, as you were saying, and then February shows up and
Right.
Their
Because I mean,
resolution is already over.
how often do you hear a person trail back to what their resolution was to say, I made it this far, or I accomplished it, or I didn't?
Right.
It's
Well,
never brought up again.
I mean, the other thing too, you've got to think about it, like how many people at the end of the year can say what their New Year's resolution was. Like if your resolution is to lose weight, like that's I think a fairly common one.
Right.
My New Year's resolution is I'm going to lose weight. Okay, great. That's cool. That's a good thing to be resolute for or about, but like do you have a goal in mind? Do you have something like a specific what's the word I'm looking for? Oh yes, a SMART goal that you are working for. Not to bring everybody back to middle school, high school, maybe elementary school when we talk about SMART goals, but it's got to be, specific. It's got to be measurable,
Right.
actionable, realistic, and timely. So like, are you trying to lose 5 pounds by a specific day? Are you trying to, what's your method for making this happen rather than just saying, I want to lose weight? That's cool. Are you going to do something about it? Or are we just going to like say it and then not do anything?
Exactly.
Put actions to words.
Got to do it.
Make manifest your words. Are you, so now that we're beyond the conversation of resolutions, are you looking forward to anything for this year, or do you have any well, I don't want to say any big 2021 plans because we all saw how 2020 turned out when we made plans.
Yeah, no plans. You can't. Well, that joke again. If you want to hear God laugh,
tell them what you want to do.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I will say, so personally, first of all, my goals for this year are to better myself as a professional.
Okay.
And, at work, I have, we have action goals and things that we work towards.
Right.
So those are very actionable, like you were mentioning. They're, what you currently are doing plus 15%, and if you achieve that, you're like, all right, let's go for plus 30%, etc. Until you can, sky's the limit. So in work, I try to do those things. But personally, I'm also doing a lot of building with rock dancing, and hope to be able to hold myself as accountable professionally as I do in ballroom in that world.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Hoping to do some stuff. I have like a surprise also that I can't talk about. So
I love surprises. You can't talk about here.
Like right
just in general.
now.
Understood.
So, yeah,
oh my
you
gosh.
guys gotta watch, next episode.
To figure out, oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Coming, I know.
Yay. Okay. Yay. I don't even know what it is. Man, it's killing me.
I know.
What?
It's a big surprise.
Fun.
You guys gotta stay tuned.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Everybody, you gotta tune in to figure out what Bjorn's big secret is. Ooh.
I'm telling you, it's coming.
It's
man. So like the big goal for 2021, those are the personal things. I just want to see more maturity, more professionalism, which leads me to my next point, is like for the world.
Just you can end it right there. More maturity and professionalism for the world.
I'm telling you,
period. And that is on period.
Yeah. That literally sums it up. I'm just like, what is it going to be this year? We were talking last week about the I don't know if it was on the show or if we were just talking in passing about the amount of the like, oh wow, I'm realizing this thing now, that's happening. And so this year, with all that realization of last year, I
Mhm.
expect more action this year.
Amen. Hallelujah. Yeah,
Let's do it.
I'm with you 100% on that. I think you know, as negative as the pandemic, I've said this many, many times in many, many venues, that as negative as the pandemic has been, just globally from like every facet, I think one of the most important things that it's done for us as a society is forced us to wake up and like actually pay attention to things that are going on, mostly because we had no choice but to pay attention to things, because
Right.
all of a sudden everybody had all the time in the world to pay attention to stuff.
Right.
So my hope is that 2021 does bring forth that kind of revolution and concept that, you know, like we can't just continue to sit idly by and let the goings on that have been going on for millennia and forever just continue. It's like exactly what we were talking about the other day, where, you know, it's I so frustrated and so annoyed constantly about all of the people who are like, I'm completely shocked, like that word that people are like still in 2021.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, we're only 9, 10 days into the year, but
It's been a long 9 days.
it's been a very long. This has been the longest year of the year,
Yeah.
um, but that people are still saying like things are shocking them, which just goes to show that, you know, people might have been like awake and cognizant of things going on, but they haven't been paying attention to, as I said before, they haven't been paying attention to not only the writing on the wall, but, you know, all of the text, emails, Facebook posts, tweets, snail mail, everything. They haven't just the people just haven't been paying attention to all of the bits of communication that people have been saying forever, that have like,
Right.
this is a problem, and all of a sudden people are waking up, which brings us to an interesting segue. Um, Speaking of people not paying attention, the fact that, you know, on the day of the certification of Joe Biden's presidency, which congratulations for the 11,000th time, 11,870th time, if you want to be specific, to our now president, Joe Biden, who was officially certified on the 5th, 6th. How long ago was that?
The 6th, I want to
I
say.
think it was the 6th. How on that day, there was, as we all know, because everyone, regardless if you watched the news or not, and if you weren't watching the news, what the hell were you doing?
Mhm.
You know, the basically coup that happened at the or the attempted coup. Oh, et voila, Gary, you are so good. That happened in Washington D.C. and the storming of the Capitol building, and people were like shocked that that was that had happened. Wherein, you know, here I am sitting thinking to myself, how are we shocked that like I would have been more surprised if it didn't happen.
Right.
Like that would have been shocking to me. I would have
Yeah.
been floored,
Right.
absolutely aghast, gooped, flabbergasted, nonplussed if that had not happened. Like I could have told you midway through 2020. I could have told you back in probably February.
Yeah.
Like, hey, just so you know, if Donald Trump doesn't win the presidency, shit's gonna go down.
Yeah. We've been waiting for it for a year. So, I mean, like,
But it happens, and people were like, "Oh my god!" You
right.
could ask let me tell you, you could ask any Black person in the entire country after Joe Biden was elected president back in November, what would have happened on today? And they would have said, well, white people are going to act a fool. They're going to act up. They're going to go crazy, cuckoo bananas, as, you know, I'm going to broad stroke and say as they are wont to do, as has been the case for ever, since the dawn of time, anytime the status quo has suddenly shifted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's shocking, yet not surprising that so many people were shocked by the events.
Yeah.
But, you know, as we were talking about, we were joking the other day. I keep getting all of these pop-ups from Norton Security, and I need them to stop because I'm not interested.
Not today, Norton.
Not today, Norton. Catch me later. But yeah, I was saying something and then Norton. Damn it, Norton. I get it. Okay, performance tasks are complete. That's great. Thank you, Norton. Yeah, what oh, we were talking the other day about or jokingly, but I'm joke about a lot of things, but also there's a sense of kind of like truth and reality to things that I joke about like, not enough people have watched Sister Act 2, and it shows in particular the entire scene where they sing, if you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, you've got to wake up and pay attention. And it's clear that there have been, this year in particular, that there are a lot of awake and woke people in the world, and that's great. Step one, wake up. But you still, even though you're woke, you still have to pay attention to things because the writing has been on the wall forever. And
it's still there.
And it's still there. And so here it's still, and it's continually being written on the wall. Like, so this happens and people are like, okay, well, moving on with their lives. And I'm like, y'all, do we realize, are we paying attention to the fact that like this just happened and these like rabid Trump supporters and, the MAGA crew are already planning stuff for the inauguration and the days before and after.
Yeah.
And the same thing's going to happen, or something possibly worse, who knows? And it's going to be shocking when you, like, I don't know if you're on Twitter, but hop on Twitter. And, fortunately, the people that I follow on Twitter are all, of all very similar leaning people. But they post a lot of like screenshots and posts from Parler or Parlay. I think it's Parlay. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's Parlay because it's written as it would be. But the things that people are talking about for like the days surrounding the inauguration, it's wild.
Yeah.
Not shocking, but wild.
And that is the world today.
Yep. But it's what's funny. This goes to show the huge difference. I mean, aside from the blatantly obvious, the main difference between like, our protest of like for Black Lives Matter and like our push for equality, and equal representation and police reform and important things that are tangible and actually like represent positive change in the United States. The difference between that and then what happened this past week is that we as organizers, I think in particular for Black people, we are we are very, very smart when it comes to protecting ourselves. So I think one of the big things that you saw at like Black Lives Matter protests is that everybody was masked up, whether it was because we're in the height of a pandemic, so everybody was wearing masks. Probably for that reason, if not just that reason alone. Number two, we all know, and this is like protest 101, in particular when it comes to like protests surrounding race and things along those lines, you don't show your face. You do everything in your power to not have your face shown during a protest.
Just stupid.
Like, you wear a mask, you wear a hood, you wear sunglasses, you don't bring your phone with you. If you do, you turn off geolocation and Bluetooth. You do all of that stuff just to protect yourself and your location, because as you saw with the police response towards Black Lives Matter protests, it was not looked upon favorably. Whereas you have this coup that happened or attempted coup and insurrection on Tuesday, Wednesday. Not a single person, I'm pretty sure, that stormed and attacked Congress wore a mask. And all of these idiots are now, and I'm going to say, they're all dumb. Like, you have to be dumb. Actually stupid. Full on, like, you can wake up every single day and choose to be whatever you want to be. And they woke up that day and chose to be like actually stupid. Decided to storm a federal building with politicians in it, which is a federal offense, amongst other things, without wearing face masks, without doing anything to cover themselves up. And then at the height of it, they're taking photos of themselves, they're live streaming things, like, insurrection and stuff notwithstanding. Like, that is next level dumb.
Yeah.
Next level. I don't even know how I got here. That was quite the tangent, but like, oh my God, they're like, you have to be stupid. But, again, as I said, we as Black people, we know how to organize ourselves and protect ourselves in those kind of situations because we've been doing it for a very long time. And that's the tea.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so what's your take on the events of this past week?
I mean, I'm just continually surprised at people's lack of awareness, people's willingness to remain ignorant once, like initially you may not know something, fine, whatever, and then something ridiculous happens. And for some reason, the next time it happens, there's just still ignorance because there's no accountability.
Yep.
And, it just continues. And yeah, just watching the pure lack of, I don't even know what to call what I watched. It was just like, did you want to get caught? Like, I don't even know, because I would love to believe that a person is not that stupid.
Oh my God. Well,
but I'm not sure.
It's like
the video.
I think about this, like, in watching this, it reminded me of when I was a high school teacher. And I would give out homework assignments, and my students would, like, as surprising and shocking, literally nobody, they would cheat off of each other and like copy each other's answers, but they didn't even like try to cheat good, like cheat well. They would literally like copy each other's answers exactly, almost like they put the paper down on top of the other one and then like wrote over top from what they saw underneath. And it was like the same answer in the same exact place on the paper in almost like the same exact handwriting. And then the worst part is that the answers would be wrong. So it's like they didn't even try to cheat good.
Yeah,
you know?
like,
And so like in this kind of situation, I mean, I'm never supporting this or never saying like this is something that you should do. But if you're gonna attempt to do something, like at least put in an effort. Like, my God.
You videotaped yourself committing felonies, and then some of you live streamed it. So it's like
hello.
even if it was something that you only wanted your friends to see, the whole world literally has it now.
Right.
What am I supposed to say to you?
Right. Hello. And then, and get to, man. But thinking of social media, actually, we'll talk about social media here in just a few minutes, but we're gonna take we're gonna take a quick a hashtag not sponsor break.
Yay.
Oh my gosh. So doodle doo, pretend, waves across the screen. So today's episode of Next to the Floor is hashtag not sponsored by London Customs. Speaking of rebellion and, going against the grain, today's episode is brought to you by London Customs at onelondoncustoms.com. Why fit in when you can stand out? As y'all know, if you've watched previous episodes, London is a young, up-and-coming designer, artist, local here in Boston, originally from New York City. He's a very good friend of mine. We've learned a lot from each other over the last few years, and it's so fun to see him grow, and develop as an artist and as a professional. So definitely check out his work and his shop at onelondoncustoms.com. He's got a couple of different socials. Those will be linked in the description box below. So if you're interested in checking out his website or his Instagram, things along those lines, it'll all be down there. So check it out. And because he's our hashtag not sponsor, we're doing a London Customs giveaway for this episode, because we're on episode 13? I think now. Golly gee. I think we're on episode 13. I've lost track. This last year has been a hell of a drug. A hell of a drug. But
hashtag 2021.
Yeah, for real. But going along with that, if you to enter into this contest, our giveaway, as you know, you have to leave a like and a comment below. So that way, you're entered. I guess that's kind of the crux. But there are a couple of other ways that you could, there's another way you can enter and get a better chance of winning something. You can support Next to the Floor on Patreon at www.patreon.com /next to the floor, and choose one of our 3 tiers of support. You get a whole bunch of other benefits with that. You get like a monthly monthly AMAs. There are like pre-access or previewing of episodes, and ability to access old episodes and things along those lines. So check us out at www.patreon.com /next to the floor, and help support, this podcast craziness situation that we've got going on here. And a big shout out to our current Patreons. We've got a couple of great supporters out there. So thank you so much for your help and your support and your love. And we love you and appreciate you. And I think that's everything. Oh, and as far as previous winners for our hashtag not sponsored giveaways, you'll see on our Facebook page, we'll put a post up on the Saturday after the episode airs, who that previous episode's winner is. Because wouldn't you know it, some of these episodes are pre-recorded.
Bum, bum, bum.
I know. And so we can't give away who wins just yet. Or we don't know who won just yet because it might not be, it's probably not Friday. So check our Facebook page for the winner. We'll reach out to you if you do win and give you a huge congratulations. We've had a few winners in the past. Selena won some honey from Zach and Zoe Sweet Bee Farms. Marcy won some stuff from London Customs. Isabel won a t-shirt from Melanin Apparel.
Nice.
I also bought myself, part of the hashtag giveaway mini goal of it is just so that I can also buy myself some things. So I've also been able to delight in some goods from Melanin Apparel and London Customs and Zach and Zoe Sweet Bee Farms. But definitely enter, it costs you nothing. If anything, you win things. So
right.
You don't lose. Can't lose.
Got to be in it to win it.
You got to be in it to win it. Exactly. So I think that's it. I think that's everything. That's our commercial break. Okay, so now that we're back, hello. In a move that was shocking, considering this should have happened many, many moons ago, like infinite number of moons ago, probably like back in 2016, Donald J. Trump has officially been permabanned on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, on you love to see it, on pretty much all of these social media sites.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Long time coming.
It's a very long time coming, and it makes me so well. Okay, so I've got this a bit of a morbid curiosity. So anytime there's ever some sort of anything that has gone on in this past year, I don't follow any of DJT's stuff, like any of his social media or anything, but I search it often enough where if I just hit the search bar, his name is the first one that comes up. Morbid curiosity, as I said. So I'm very relieved, but also at the same time a little bit sad that I won't be able to doom scroll on his Twitter feed at 2 a.m. to see what kind of asinine things he's said within the last couple of hours. Because prime time to look at his Twitter was at 3 a.m. So that's when the goons come out.
Yeah.
And now there's a huge, what's the most interesting thing is there are a lot of conservative talking heads and just, people on the right are starting to claim that, it's against his First Amendment rights. And we're starting to slip into this weird kind of Orwellian 1984 hellscape, as it were, wherein, people aren't going to have free speech and blah, 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 blah. To which I say, well, you should probably go take a civics class.
Yeah.
Or read a book.
I think that the presidency as a whole should be banned from social media. Every single president for all time.
Thank you.
Why? For how many decades the presidents didn't have Facebook?
Until at least 2010.
Right. So why do we care? Thank you. Keep it that way.
I mean, like, for what it's worth, I think it, in a small sense, it's important for, as a technologically driven society, I think it is in some sense important that we have, that our political leaders are, or have access to social media platforms and are able to, um, I don't want to say like give updates, but post on them when necessary. But I think that's the key word that I'm going to use right there, when necessary, because, man, I think it just it was out of control.
Yeah.
It was out of control. Like, wildly out of control. But all this to say, just for everybody who's out there who has a hard time understanding the First Amendment and, the idea of freedom of speech and what that means, let's talk about it really quick. And what is the First Amendment, and what does freedom of speech mean, and why does it not apply in this situation? And then also, you know, 1984 by George Orwell, and what that book means and what that's all about. So for those of you at home who haven't taken a basic civics class or picked up a book ever, the First Amendment effectively guaranteed you freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press, and freedom of assembly. That's kind of like the Bill of Rights. One of the main things, the first 10 amendments are the Bill of Rights. That applies specifically to the fact that government shall make no law limiting those things. And the key word in there is that the government shall make no law limiting freedom of speech, blah, blah, blah. And of course, that has been argued and ruled over in the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, in a couple of landmark cases. I don't have them off the top of my head. However, one of the main ones basically says that, freedom of speech is there and it reigns supreme. However, you do not have freedom of speech in instances of inciting violence, hate speech, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So let's say, for example, you are not allowed to, in a crowded theater, yell fire when no immediate threat is
right
there, right? That is not protected speech. In a similar vein, a private company or a private organization, private business, i.e. Twitter, Facebook, any social media company, any social media platform, is not violating your First Amendment right by banning you from using their platform. Because if you look, and this is something that, everybody's guilty of, nobody reads the terms in service. Mm-hmm. If you break a company's terms of service, they have every right to ban you from using their platform.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing, his banning is not the first time that Twitter has ever banned somebody from their platform. People get banned off of Twitter, off of Facebook for far less things than inciting a coup at the highest level of government.
Right. And so, I'm going to read this. I'm looking at history.com here, right? Mm-hmm. It says, so just like for the paragraph, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble, right? So the moment you tell people to assemble for unpeaceful reasons, you've already
broken that law.
Like, why do we need to talk about it?
Right, you already.
What's not understood right now? I'm confused.
Yeah, for real. When you have in all of his rhetoric over the last year, if you go back and look at all of his rhetoric, every single thing that he's done. You look at all of the campaign emails that he sent out where he calls, listen, you know, I talked about this many times at the studio, but way back in 2016 when he was first elected, you know, he would send out these total BS, what are they called? Surveys to ask you, like, how is Donald Trump doing as president? And it was really just to like stroke his ego, and the options for how he was doing were like amazing, great, good, okay, and other. And those were the options. And so like I filled one out because I had, again, morbid curiosity to see if that was like real. And so I have been getting, this past year, had been getting emails nonstop every single day, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 emails every single day from various members of the Trump campaign, blah, 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 looking for donations and yada, 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 yada. But the verbiage that they would use in these emails, especially as it came closer towards the election, were like, you know, make sure you sign up for, make sure you sign up and donate for, to donate and become one of, you know, the number one person on Trump's army, and, you know, defend Donald J. Trump against the radical left and the like seize of power from the radical left and blah, 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 blah. And so like all of his rhetoric from his email speeches, they go into, you could do an entire dissertation on his speech and how that has rallied the extreme alt-right of the political spectrum to basically mobilize. He saw, God, when was it? When he literally told Proud Boys to stand by and stand back, stand by. Like,
I think that was the debate. The first.
Oh, that was the debate. Yeah. So like,
or something.
Like everything that he's been talking about over the last year has been leading up to this exact moment where he's telling his people, right. And it circles back to the beginning. How are people surprised that this happened?
Last week I said, I think you asked me a question and I said, I want to hold, I think I said to our viewers to hold yourselves accountable this year and hold others accountable. Yep. Already failing. Already. Yep. It's been 1 week. Like, no, we're not doing this. Like, we know this is wrong. We knew it was going to happen. Like, stop this.
Yep. Yep. And yet,
2021.
We told you, 21, you need to walk in, you need to sit down, and you need to not touch anything. And yet, here you are. 1 week, and you've already got your grubby hands all over everything.
No.
My God.
I say no.
We're not doing that. We are not doing it.
I will turn this car around.
Oh my God. I will.
Right now.
And drop you off.
Right.
Because I am not doing it.
But come on, people. Hold yourselves accountable. Hold others accountable.
And yeah. And so thank you for reading the actual wordage of the First Amendment, because
no problem. I'm like, come on.
Like, so
pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So if there was a First Amendment issue, it absolutely was the inciting of violence in DC at the Capitol. You know, it has nothing to do with Twitter banning him from using their platform. That's not a First Amendment issue. Is that uncomfortable? Is Donald Trump going to have to find other ways to communicate with his cult of followers? Yeah. But here's the fun thing. We live in the year of 2021, but even though we're in 2021 where, you know, technology is important and it's a thing, as you said before, presidents have been communicating with people for years. He has a press
Right.
room. There's a press room
Right.
in
So let me
in the White House. He can hold a conference. He hasn't held a conference or a press briefing in ages.
right. And I'll read that first part again, just so we're clear.
One more time for the people in the back
Right?
who let's so I need everybody here really quickly. Just wake up and
Right? Megaphone.
open your
Turn up
eyes.
your volume.
Open your eyes, open your ears, and I need you to pay attention. Whoopi Goldberg said it.
Right. Tap the person next to you. Make sure they're listening, please. Right.
Wake
Here
up
we go.
and pay attention. Here you go.
Congress. Congress shall make no law
Wait, what was the
respecting
first one? What was the first word?
Congress.
Okay.
That's 3 times we said it, but you know.
Okay.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging freedom of speech or of the press, not their privately owned platform for social media, but the press. Okay? You tell me what that means to you.
Yeah. So when you say Congress, what do you mean?
Right. Like,
When you say Congress,
hello.
if Twitter, which is not related to Congress by any.
In case you didn't know.
In case you didn't know,
You
Twitter.
heard
is
it
not
here
Congress.
first.
Yeah, I don't. Welcome to Next to the Floor, where we're here to spell out, you know,
What Congress
banalities.
means.
Yeah, Congress, not Twitter. Twitter, which is a private business. Although, okay, so also to clarify some things, I know people there's been a lot of like, which is a really weird question. If you look up Twitter like as a business on Google, it'll say like what kind of company it is, and it'll say public.
Mhm.
When we refer to a public, like to the public or to a public business, we don't mean like Twitter as a public company does not mean it is owned by the government. So, like a public service or a public industry like the USPS, United States Postal Service, Amtrak, those are literally like public entities. That is, they are owned by the government. Those kind of companies are subject to First Amendment, are subject to laws established by the Constitution.
Right.
So Amtrak cannot cannot by law constitutionally cannot discriminate who rides their train based on everything that's in the Constitution. And Congress can't do anything to prevent Amtrak from serving those people because Amtrak is a public entity. Twitter, yes, might be in the public domain in the sense that it is what is known as a PLC, a public liability company. All that means it is a private business that has public share options. That means I, as a member of the public, lowercase p, can buy a share of this private company. It does not mean that Twitter, PLC, is owned by the government. So Twitter, with their own terms of service, has every right to ban whoever they want off of their program and prevent them from using it.
Right. Especially if that punishment will be applied to any person that uses it the way it was just used.
Exactly. And so, like, you know, as I said before, we wake up every single day with the option to be whatever we want to be. I am going to implore every single person out there in the entire universe, not just our viewers. I know you're all beautiful, smart, educated people, but I'm going to implore everyone to choose to not be stupid every day. That is an active decision that you get. You get to choose to not be stupid. Choose to not be stupid. I don't know, pick up a book and read it.
Yeah.
You know,
Maybe one about the Constitution.
oh, hey, read if you really want to compare what's going on to like George Orwell, I highly recommend you reread 1984 and like get a better sense of like what it's actually talking about. Because Twitter banning Donald Trump is not 1984. It is not Orwellian. This is not we're not slipping into some Orwellian nightmare. If anything, we're moving into more of like a Huxleyan sort of situation. You could even describe it as almost Kafka-esque. There's a good one for you. But I could go on to a rant forever. But,
Right.
unfortunately, y'all, we are coming up to the end of today's episode. So
Wow.
I know, man.
Well, 1 week down.
1 week down, 52 more to go.
Ugh.
We are starting 2021 not with a fizzle, but with a bang.
That's right.
So, yeah.
And if that doesn't let you know that it's going to be an explosive year, then I don't know what will.
And
I guess you'll be shocked in a few months.
I guess you will be shocked. So with that, thank you all so much for watching. You're all fantastic, wonderful, beautiful, amazing.
All the time.
People. Thank you so much to our Patreons who've been supporting us for the last forever. Thank you to our not sponsor, London Customs. Bjorn, thank you for all of your input.
Thanks
Gary,
for having me.
Thank you for clicking all the buttons and
Gary,
set up all of the things. Let's see. Final thoughts. As I said before, you get to choose what you want to be any day. Do not pick stupid.
Please.
You can literally pick anything else. There's indefinite, there's like not indefinite, there's an infinite quantity of things.
Yeah.
Scratch stupid off the list.
Try accountable. Maybe we can all be accountable.
Make that your resolution for 2021. Hold yourself accountable.
Do it.
And hold others accountable. And with that, about to get riled up. Okay. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Peace.
Peace.